السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Welcome Junior 4 students all over Egypt. Okay, now it's time to study lesson 2. Okay, in the first unit in the second term. Okay, the title of the unit, the title of the lesson is called A Visit to the Village. So let's go to the village to see what is happening. Okay, language in use, this means that we are gonna study grammar in this lesson. Number one, vocabulary. Key vocabulary means the most important words in this lesson. Okay, so please repeat after me. Weather, weather, path, path, forest, forest. So forest is a place with a lot of trees and plants, with a lot of birds and insects. Friendly. We use friendly to describe people who help us, who speak to us nicely, okay, who are good friends. Okay, so this is an adjective to describe those people. Seller, seller. Okay, this is the person that we buy things from. So he sells and we buy. So his job is called seller. Traveler. When you move from one place to another, especially for a long distance, you're called a traveler. When you travel from one place to another. Okay, extra vocabulary, more vocabulary. Number one, fresh. So we use fresh to describe water. So rivers have fresh water, for example. Okay, and sometimes we use it to describe foods and drinks. So fresh juice, fresh fruit or vegetables. Okay, rest. So you are so tired, so please get some rest, for example. Okay, excited. So you feel excited when you are happy to do something. Okay, clear, clear. We use it to describe air. We use it to describe water. Okay, that it's so clear. Conjugation of verbs, regular and irregular. So let's start with regular verbs, present and past. Smell in present, smelled in the past. Notice in present, noticed in the past. Okay, so we just add D because notice ends in a magic E. Okay, let's move to the irregular verbs, present and past. Sing, sang. Tell, told. Buy, bought. GH silent in this verb. Okay, let's move to the important expressions and the prepositions. Okay, number one, take photos. So we use the camera to take photos. Okay, beside the river, next to the river, by the river. Okay, beside the river. Far from. So far from is the opposite of close to. Okay, compared to. When you compare the life in the city to the life in the countryside, okay, you compare between these two lives. Okay, so let's move to main points on listening and reading text. The topic for today is a day in the village. Okay, so let's read these important sentences. They help us to speak. They help us to write a professional paragraph about this topic. A visit or a day in the village. Ahmed and Omar visited. Okay, so let's do something creative. Ahmed and Omar visited a small village near the city last weekend. Okay, they noticed how clean and fresh air was compared to the city. Okay, Omar took photos, okay, of the houses, trees, and the clear water. Ahmed smelled colorful flowers beside the path. Okay, they saw small forest near the village. A farmer told them a story about an oasis. They went to the market and bought some fruit. Omar and Ahmed enjoyed the quiet life there. Okay, do you think why I made these circles around these specific words? Thank you so much. Yes, you're right, because all these verbs are in the past. All these verbs are in the past. So let's compare between regular verbs and irregular ones. Okay, so we will Circle regular verbs green. So visited is regular because there is ed. Noticed regular because it's ed. Okay, smelled regular, it's in ed. Okay, and enjoyed regular because there is ed. But was is irregular, and this is the past from is or am. Okay, took is irregular, it's the past from take. Okay, so is irregular, this is the past from see. Told is irregular, this is the past from tell. Went is irregular, this is the past from go. Boot is irregular because it is the past from buy. Okay, so we have two kinds of verbs when we change them from being in present to be in the past. Regular verbs and irregular ones. Okay, now let's read this sentence again. Ahmed and Omar visited a small village near the city. So they live in the city, like Alexandria, and they visited a village near the city. When? Last weekend. Okay, so last Friday and Saturday. Number two, they noticed how clean the fresh air was. So the air was clean and fresh, okay, compared to the busy city. So city has a lot of cars, cities have a lot of factories and a lot of people. So the air in the city isn't clean or fresh. But the air in the countryside, the air in the village is clean and fresh when you compare it to the busy city. Okay, Omar took photos of houses, trees, and the clear water. Okay, Ahmed smelled the colorful flowers beside the path. The path that they walk in, okay, there were a lot of flowers around it. Okay, and he started to smell these flowers. Okay, they saw a small forest near the village. They saw a small area with a lot of animals, a lot of plants and trees. Okay, a farmer told them a story about an oasis. Okay, oasis, like we have studied in the first lesson, oasis is a small area in the desert that has water, animals, and people can live in it, and they can get water through springs. Okay, they went to the market and bought fresh fruit. They also went to the market and they bought fruit to eat. Omar and Ahmad enjoyed the quiet life there. Okay, now let's move to the next page and answer these questions. Yes, how many questions? There are 7. The space is sunny today. So what can we describe using sunny? The weather is sunny today. Okay, Ahmed spaced the colorful flowers. What can we do to the flowers? We can smell the flowers. Okay, so Ahmed smelled. They went to the space and bought fresh fruit. Where can you buy fresh fruit? Yes, from the market. Okay, I liked the village because it's a space and clear. I like the village because it's quiet. So I can't describe the village to be hot. Sometimes it's be hot, but we don't like it because it's too hot. Okay, because it's too far, it's too basic. No, but we can like the village because it's quiet and clear. Okay, you look very tired. You need some rest. Okay, when you do a lot of work, when you do your homework, when you help your mother and father, you need some rest. Okay, we enjoyed the space air along the river. We enjoyed the fresh air. So we can describe the air that it's fresh, not busy, not quiet, or not far. Okay, space people always help others, friendly people. Okay, that's why they are good friends. Let's move to number 2, listening and reading text. So let's read the text about a day in the village. Let's go to the village with Ahmed and Omar. Okay, let's read it together. So please look at your book if you have one, or look at the board if you don't have a book. Last weekend, this means that everything that happened in the past. Okay, last weekend, Ahmed and Omar visited a small village near the city. The weather was sunny. They were excited. They walked beside the river and noticed how clean and fresh the air was compared to the busy city. Omar took photos of houses, trees, and the clean water. Ahmed smelled the colorful flowers beside the path. Not far from the village, they saw a small forest with tall trees and many birds. A farmer told them a story about an oasis in the desert where travelers could find water and rest. In the afternoon, they went to the market and bought fresh fruit such as apples, oranges, and bananas. Okay, let's move to the next page. The sellers were friendly and told them stories about the village life. Ahmed and Omar enjoyed the quiet streets, listened to birds singing, and learned many new things about the people who lived there. Okay, so first question. Where did Ahmed and Omar walk? Yes, Ahmed and Omar walked beside the river. What did Ahmed and Omar buy from the market? Okay, so they bought. Okay, so bought must be in the past because the question is in the past. So they bought some fruits like, okay, apples and bananas. Okay, they also bought oranges, but it's okay. Yes, let's move to the third part of our lesson, which is so important, and we have studied it before in Junior 3 and we have studied it in Junior 2 as well. Okay, this is the language in use, the grammar part, the past simple tense. The past simple. Let's talk about things that happened in the past. Okay, usage. The past tense tells us about actions that already happened. So these actions started and finished in the past. Okay, so we use the past simple tense to talk about these actions that already happened and finished. Okay, yes. The past simple tense with regular verbs. Okay, we have differentiated between regular and irregular a couple of minutes ago. Okay, so let's talk about them again. Affirmative statement. Okay, so for regular verbs we add d, ed, or ied to the main verb or to the base verb. Okay, so the sentence starts with the subject. This subject could be I, could be we, you, they, okay, or it could be singular noun. It could be plural noun. Okay, and it could be he, she, or it. Okay, so this is the subject. This is the subject. Okay, there are 9 forms of the subject. After that, we get the regular verb, infinitive, but we add to this infinitive ed, d, or ied. Okay, yes, for example, watch, we add ad to change it to be in the past. Change, we add just d because there is a magic e at the end. Okay, cry ends in y, and before y there is a consonant. R is a consonant. Okay, so we had to change y into I and we add ed to become cry in present, cried in the past. Okay, yes, so let's move to the next page. The past simple tense with irregular verbs. Okay, what is the meaning of irregular verb? We start with the subject. We have just mentioned that the subject could be I, we, you, they, plural noun, he, she, it, and singular noun. And we get the second form of the verb or the verb in the past. Yes, irregular verbs have different spelling in the past. We don't add ed to make the past tense. For example, For example, yes, is in present, was in the past, are, were, do, did, eat, ate, ate like number 8, okay, see, saw, make, made, we change K into D, give, gave, go, went. Okay, for example, I went to the market yesterday. Okay, so this is the past simple tense with regular and irregular verbs. Let's move to the negative statement. How can we get the negative statement in the past simple tense? To say something didn't happen. So what is the usage? That thing didn't happen in the past. Okay, so we start with the subject. I, he, she, it, singular noun. We, you, they, plural noun. Okay, and we, after the subject, we add did not or didn't. Okay, you can say did not or didn't, and the base verb. The verb in the infinitive. The verb without any addition. The verb without ded or ied. Okay, the verb in the infinitive. So I didn't watch TV yesterday. Okay, watch is in the infinitive. Why? Because there is didn't, and after didn't we use infinitive. Okay? Yes. So we have studied the past simple tense in the affirmative statement, in regular verb and irregular verbs. Okay, and we have studied the negative statement. Let's move to part number 3, interrogative. Okay, so we have 2 kinds of interrogative. Yes, no question. In yes, no question, we start with did. Look, here subject is number 1, and did is number 2. But in the question, did come to be number 1, and subject comes to be number 2. So when we switch the position of the helping verb did and the subject, we change the sentence to be a question. Okay, so did, subject, and after did we use infinitive, don't forget that. Okay, and question mark at the end of the question. Okay, yeah. Short answers, we can answer with yes or no. Okay, and we start with the subject. After that, we use did with yes. Okay, and didn't with no. So, for example, did you go? Go must be in the infinitive. Okay. Did you go to the park last week? Did you go to the park last week? Okay. So did at the beginning of the question. You is the subject. Go is the infinitive and the complement of the sentence. And last week to show that we are talking about something that happened in the past. Okay. So yes, I did. Did she clean in the infinitive? Did she clean the tent? No, she didn't. When we answer with no, we have to add not. Okay, to did, to the helping verb did. Okay? Yes. Now let's move to the next part. WH question. This is the second form of the interrogative. Okay, which is called WH question. Okay, so it had the same structure of yes no question, but we add the question word at the end, at the beginning of the question. Okay, so question word, after that we use did, the helping verb in the past simple, the subject, and the infinitive. For example, where is the question word where? Where is the helping did? Where is the subject they? Where is the infinitive go? So where did they go on holiday? Where did they go on holiday? So I'm asking a WH question, and we call it WH because it starts with question word. And this question word could be what? It could be where. It could be when. Why. Okay, and so on, which, and so on, who. Okay, and the majority of them start with WH. Okay, so that's why we call them WH question. Except how. Okay, so where did they go on holiday? They went. So go in the question change to be went in the answer because there is no did. Okay, so they went to the museum. Let's move to one of the most important parts. Okay, key vocabulary or key words. Okay, Keywords are the words that help us to make sure or to know that this sentence is in the past. Yes. So, for example, in the past, okay, a period of time and ago, yesterday, in and a past year. So, for example, in 2020, in 2010, in 2015. Okay, earlier today but earlier in the morning. So I'm recording this video, I'm filming this video in the afternoon. Okay, morning is a period of the past. Last, we can say last year, last month, last week, or last Tuesday. Okay, when I was young. This is a key word that or key expression that helped me to find out that the sentence is in the past. Okay, let's remember. Okay, this part is about the pronunciation of verbs in the past. Okay, to the pronunciation of the verbs ending with ed in the past. Okay, let's find out together. Yes, ed. Okay, sometimes we pronounce it t or t. Sometimes we pronounce it d. Sometimes we pronounce it id. So let's find out when can we pronounce it t, t. And t is aspirated. You release a lot of air outside of your mouth. So it's called t, t. Not like te in Arabic. No, it's t. For example, okay, if the verb ends in p, if the verb ends in sh, s, sh. Okay, yes, let's find out together. So, help. What is the last sound in help? P. So this is helped. Helped. Okay, worked. So all these ed pronounce it t sound. T sound. T sound. Okay, so helped, worked, laughed, fixed, watched. Okay, when can we pronounce it d sound? D. Okay, when the last sound in the base verb is n sound. Sound. Z, p, j sound. J. G, or any vowel. For example, the last sound here is all sound. So it's cold, cold, climbed. Okay, so we are talking about the sound, not the letter. Okay, so the last sound is m. So it's climbed, cleaned, played, delivered, lived, closed, described, damaged, hugged, belonged. Okay, but if the last two sounds are t or da, we pronounce it id. So, tasted, needed. Okay, yes. So let's answer these questions together. Okay, if I were you, pause the video, stop the video, and go to answer these questions on your own, then come back to answer them together. Okay, let's do it. We spaced to the zoo last Saturday. So this is a key word about the past. Okay, so we went. They spaced to the market and bought. Bought in the past. Bought in the past. So they went to the market. Okay, they went to the market and bought fresh fruit. The seller spaced friendly and told them stories. Okay, so the sellers were. Okay, he spaced a funny movie last night. Okay, last night is in the past. Last is in the past, so he watched it. Space, you study English yesterday. Space, you study English yesterday. So yesterday is in the past, and the helping verb in the past is did. So did you study English yesterday? I space finished the project yesterday. Yesterday is in the past. Okay, so we have to choose didn't. I didn't finish project yesterday. She space 4. When she started in the past learning swimming, okay, she was 4 when she started swimming. Yes, let's move to number 8. Number 8. Did you, okay, after did, we use infinitive. Okay, so where in the infinitive did you go? When space she learned to ride a bike. Okay, with she, okay, we can't use are. Okay, we can't use are with she. We can't use where with she. We can't use do with she, but we can use did. Okay, so there is no keyword that helped me that find out this question is in the past, but we use did only with the subject she. Okay, he space at the club yesterday. Yesterday he was sick, so he didn't go. Okay, I'm sorry, we can't use didn't. Why? Okay, because didn't we need infinitive. Okay, there is no infinitive in the sentence, so what can we use in the past? Wasn't. So he wasn't at the club yesterday because, or he was sick. Okay, so we can't use didn't because there is no infinitive. Yes, let's move to this part. Let's answer these 10 questions. He space go to the dentist last Monday. Okay, so he went in the past because last. Okay, my parents spaced to Cairo in 2019. 2019 was 6 years ago or 7 years ago, so my parents traveled. Okay, because travel is a regular verb. Okay, when did they go? Why? Because after did we use infinitive. He spaced not eat meat yesterday. Yesterday is in the past, so we need the helping verb did not or didn't eat in the infinitive. So he didn't eat meat yesterday. Okay, we space walked to school yesterday. Okay, so we walked because walk is a regular verb. Okay, did you enjoy? Okay, because after did we use infinitive. Okay, Omar space eat pizza 2 days ago. 2 days ago help me to find out that this sentence in the past. So ate. Omar ate pizza 2 days ago. In the past there is space, no cars. Okay, so verb to be in the past was and were. No cars. Cars is a plural noun, so there were no cars or planes. Okay, what space you do last Sunday? So what did? It's in the past. How space the weather last Sunday? Okay, so I'm talking about the weather, and the weather is a singular noun because it's uncountable, and verb to be in the past with singular noun was. So how was the weather, okay, last Saturday? Thank you so much and see you next video.